Hello, this is John Paval with Access Arts Live, here to bring you the latest information we have this week. Sorry, I'm adjusting the light a little bit. Of the big guns, the orchestral works, the choral works, the operas, and we have a couple operas for you this week. And there's music already starting this evening, so I'd like to get right to it and start filling you in on everything that we have that we've been able to find with you so far for this week. There's more than I'm going to be able to tell you about. And, well, that's just it, that it's exploding all over the world. So first of all, I want to tell you about the concert that's going on this evening. No, I'm not talking about the Foray tribute that's going on at Wigmore Hall today, Monday, November 4th at 9 o'clock in the evening European time. Or tomorrow at the same time. I've already put out a separate live stream about that. No, this is about the concert from the Teatro, alla Scala. They don't only do operas, they also do concerts. Monday, November 4th, 2024, 7:45 in the evening European time. That's 1:45 on the East Coast, and 10:45 in the morning on the West Coast. The La Scala Opera House Philharmonic will be live streaming a concert with pianist Alessandro Taverna as the soloist. They'll be doing, first of all, with Taverna, they'll be doing Mozart's Piano Concerto number 20 in D minor, Kerschel number 466, for those of you who count the Kerschel numbers. And then after that, they will do two pieces by Strauss. The first is the Till Eulenspiegel's Lustige Streiche, which is translated in various ways, and they're translating it in their program as the prankster shots of Till Eulenspiegel, Opus 28. The Frankfurt Radio Symphony played it last Friday and had a little different English translation of what that's called. And then after that, then they will do Der Rosenkavalier Suite, Opus 59. Now, I think this is a week of trends and connections and things showing up again and again, like the Eulenspiegel from last week being run this week. There are these trends that happen in the world of Philharmonic music. I discovered this. We've been promoting these live streams for a few months, and I first discovered this last summer when I saw that on 3 different continents, 3 different orchestras had all done the same piece by Lily Boulanger, who is not all that common. I thought, well, this is a little curious, and that kind of things keep happening. Anyway, let me give you a picture of Alessandro Taverna, who's going to be playing in just a very short period of time. First, I'll show you the kind of publicity picture that he likes to put out that would show how much he loves playing the piano. But here's my favorite picture of him. It said, there he is when he's finishing up something. I love these dramatic pictures. While you feast your eyes on that, let me tell you a little bit about him. He's Venice born, and he first broke onto the scene, the international scene, back in 2009 at places like the Leeds International Piano Competition and the Minnesota piano competition. He plays regularly at the La Scala in Milan, at the Musikverein in Vienna, at the Konzerthaus in Berlin, Wigmore Hall in London, Musashino Hall in Tokyo. So he gets around, plays with a lot of orchestras. He also teaches at the Santa Cecilia Music Academy in Portogruaro. And if I'm not mistaken, Daniel Harding has just been brought in at the Santa Cecilia Orchestra. Anyway, and he received the Premio Presidente della Repubblica in 2012, which is I believe that means the presidential prize from the Republic of Italy. So that is available to you this evening in just a short period of time. I can commend it to you. Have a good time. After this, we have 2 operas coming up for you this week. So let me tell you about each of them. One is from Paris and one is from Mannheim in Germany. One of them will cost you something and the other one will be free of charge. One is on Wednesday and one is on Saturday. So let's get to them now. First, Paris Opera Play will be live streaming on Wednesday, November 6th, the very French La Fille du Régiment opera, the first entirely French production of Gaetano Donizetti. A couple of years after he first moved to Paris in 1838, this was the first opera in which he started with a French story and a French libretto and composed something. What you need to know about this La Fille du Régiment, the girl of the regiment, is how it's translated in English, is who's the girl? It's the very French Julie Fuchs, Avignon born, three-time award winner of the Victoire de la Musique Awards in France in 2012, 2014, and 2021. Some of her highlights last season were playing Marie in La Fille du Régiment at the Staatsoper in Vienna, playing Poppaea in L'Incorazione di Poppaea at the Opera House in Zurich, and playing Leila in Les Pêcheurs de Perles, the pearl fishermen, at the Teatro des Champs-Élysées. She's played a lot of different roles at the Paris Opera House. She has done recordings of Mahler and Debussy. She has 2 solo albums on the Deutsche Grammophon label, and in 2021, not unlike some others, she was made Chevalier de l'Ordre des Arts et des Lettres in France, which is quite an honor. Alongside her, let me show you a picture of her first, so you know what La Fille is going to look like. And she has some lovely press photos that she puts out, which I just love checking out. While you're gazing on her, I'll tell you about the guy playing beside her. It's a Belgian baritone, Lionel Lot. But he's known as a performer of the French repertoire. At the Paris Opera, he has sung Schaunard in La Bohème. He sung Johann in Werther. He sung Pandolf in Cendrillon. So that's the pair you're going to be seeing. I'm sorry, I did not pull up a photo of him because, well, I just like the photos of Julie Fuchs a lot better. Anyway, this version of La Fille du Régiment is not set in the Napoleonic Wars as in the original. It's set in World War I, so it's updated somewhat. If you like Donizetti, if you like French opera, the Paris Opera Play production on Wednesday evening is for you. It will cost you 14 euros and 90 cents, which is about $16 US. We will also give you the link to the online page for Julie Fuchs, so you can find out a little more about her when you're trying to make up your mind whether or not you want to spring that for La Fille du Régiment on Wednesday evening. If you do, have a good time. Then on Saturday, Opera Vision, the Creative Europe funded joint, which on repeated occasions offers you live streams of opera free of charge, God bless them, is live streaming a opening night of Verdi's La Traviata in a production by the Nationaltheater of Mannheim. It's an interesting production because both of the leads are Asians, 2 South Korean singers. This will be on Saturday, 7 o'clock in the evening, European time, 1 o'clock, your Saturday afternoon on the East Coast, 10 o'clock in the morning, time for your Saturday morning opera on the West Coast, free of charge, as I said, on the Opera Vision their own website. This, it's a very sad story about how a courtesan wanted to throw away all of the sort of unacceptable life she's been living in order because of the love that she conceives for the young Alfredo. And I won't tell you the rest of it, because if some of you are watching it for the first time, I want you to find out for yourself what happens. I will tell you that if you are discovering this opera for the first time, when Verdi first brought it out, it was fiercely criticized because they didn't like the idea of having a courtesan at the center of an opera. That was considered improper. Anyway, the cast includes in the role of Violetta, Sung Hee Ko. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I've got a picture of her for you, which I'd like to show you. She's young. There's Sung Hee Ko. She's from South Korea. She first came to Europe in 2014 to study at the University of Music and Performing Arts in Mannheim. Since 2021, she's been a member of the soloist ensemble of the Nationaltheater, Mannheim. She's played Pomina in the Magic Flute, Gretel and Hansel and Gretel, and roles like that. Now, beside her, let me show you the guy that will be appearing beside her is Sung Min Song. Now, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. He give you an idea what he's been doing recently. Last season, he was Eric in The Flying Dutchman for the Berlin Comic Opera. He was in The Merry Widow for the Hessian Staatstheater in Wiesbaden, the Magic Flute for the Korean National Opera, and he played Lenski in Eugene Onegin for the Staatstheater in Augsburg. He has a concert repertoire that includes an awful lot of requiems, I can tell you that, and the Beethoven Missa Solemnis. So that gives you a pair of operas to check out this week. And the second one, did I give you the I think I gave you the times, and I think I gave you the fact that it's free of charge. So this is a great chance to see an interesting version of the opening night of Verdi's magnificent La Traviata. Well, getting back to moving forward during the week from day to day, let's get back to Wednesday evening, Wednesday, November 6th, Artbene. We've discovered the ongoing series of live streams by the Artbene channel on YouTube. They're located in Moscow, so it wasn't easy for us to find it, and all of their descriptions are in Cyrillic. So, we had to get it translated on Google, but you can get that stuff translated on Google. Wednesday, November 6th, 6:30 in the evening European time, 8:30 in Moscow, 12:30 on the East Coast, 9:30 in the morning on the West Coast. The Yaroslavia Philharmonic Choir will be performing Mozart's Requiem at the Roman Catholic Cathedral in Moscow, which I think is also called the Cathedral of the Immaculate Conception. The soloist, I'm not familiar with them, are Lara Merkulieva as a soprano, Marina Ruseshvili as mezzo, Ivan Zigallo, the tenor, and Anton Zaryev, the baritone. And at the organ will be Igor Goldenberg. If you want to hear a requiem this week, Artbene and the Yaroslavia Philharmonic Choir have one for you. Then on Thursday, the Helsinki Philharmonic. On Thursday, November 7th, 6 in the evening European time, noon on the East Coast, 9 in the morning on the West Coast, the Helsinki Philharmonic offers you a concert which gives you the possibility, among other things, of enjoying or discovering the music of a composer very much in demand in Finland, Lotta Venikoski. This is at 6 o'clock in the evening in Europe, noon on the East Coast, 9 on the West Coast. It's on Stage Plus, so it does not come for free. You need to buy a 1-week subscription, which costs you €9.90 or $11 US. The conductor is Juha-Pekka Saraste. He's the chief conductor and or artistic director of the Helsinki Phil. Interesting thing, the principal guest conductor and his artistic co-director is Pekka Kuusisto. And Kuusisto was brought in just a couple of weeks ago, October 19th, by the Detroit Symphony Orchestra and their new principal guest conductor, Tabita Berglund from Norway, to come in and play on the violin in a concert they were doing. And there are these interconnections and echoes that happen. And one of the pieces they'll be doing is Rachmaninoff's Piano Concerto No. 3 in D minor. Well, just yesterday night, Sunday, November 3rd, the Detroit Symphony Orchestra brought in Olga Kern to play Rachmaninoff's Piano Concerto No. 4. So there are these connections. There are these reconnections, these sort of serendipitous events happening. Anyway, let me tell you what they'll be playing. They'll be starting out by playing a piece by Lotte Venekoski called Verdi. Let me give you a picture of Lotte Venekoski. There she is, and she has a very modest, unassuming look, as she does in most of her pictures. Her work has been appreciated by a lot of well-known people. Last night at the Proms premiered her orchestral work Flounce in 2017. She recently finished her first big opera called Régiment, which was on commission from the Savonlinna Opera Festival. She says she's interested in language and literature, lyrical poetry. She did a monodrama called Leleile back in 2010 already about forced prostitution and sex slavery. So she doesn't shy away from any kind of concert. And the piece that they'll be playing by Lotte Venekoski is called Verdi. Now, that's not all they're going to be playing. They'll be doing Rachmaninoff's Piano Concerto No. 3, as I mentioned, with Nelson Gerner on the piano. Gerner, he's performed with all the major orchestras around the world. I could give you the list, but it would, be the usual, the LA Phil, the Orchestre de Paris, the Orchestre Philharmonic de Radio France, the Dallas Symphony. He's toured with the Helsinki Philharmonic, so they know him and they like him. And then after that, in the second half, they'll do Sibelius's Symphony No. 5 in E flat major. The conductor knows his way around Sibelius. It's Saraste, who became the music director and chief conductor of the Helsinki Philharmonic in August 2023. But he came up years ago, back in the 90s, with Esa-Pekka Salonen. But he took a different path than Salonen. He's now with the Helsinki Symphony by way of engagements before with the Toronto Symphony Orchestra starting out, then the BBC Symphony Orchestra, the Oslo Phil, the Lahti Symphony Orchestra in Finland, and finally the Köln Symphony Orchestra, also known as the WDR, with initials which I still don't understand, even though they told me what they mean last week. It has something to do with it being a regional orchestra. Anyway, so Saraste is the guy who knows what he's doing with Sibelius. Gerner's going to know what he's doing with Rachmaninoff. And Lotte Venekoski is a composer whom, if you don't know her, she's one to discover. So I commend that to you. And again, this one will cost you €9.90, as it's on Stage Plus, or $11 for a 1-week subscription. Friday night, November 8th, the Berlin Phil is back with a highly interesting program, and the soloist Vilde Frang. This is at 8 o'clock European time, which will be 2 o'clock in the afternoon on the East Coast, 11 o'clock in the morning on the West Coast, 6 o'clock in the morning in Australia. If you really like the program and want to get up for it, or you'd like to really hear this Norwegian violinist Vilde Frang, they'll be doing. I love what they're going to be doing. They're going to start out doing Rachmaninoff's Isle of the Dead. Once again, these reconnections. There's all this Russian being played last week and this week by different orchestras in Europe and then in the U.S. It's a symphonic poem, and it's really cool. And then they'll be doing Korngold's a concerto for violin and orchestra in D major with Vilde Frang on the violin, and then they'll be doing Dvorak Symphony No. 7 in D minor. You know that Korngold wrote a lot of music for Hollywood films, and in fact, the violin concerto. He took music from his soundtrack to the adventure film Anthony Adverse and put it into the violin concerto, and he received an Oscar award for that film music to the adventure film Anthony Adverse. As for Vilde Frang, she's Norwegian. She had her debut with the Oslo Philharmonic when she was only 12 years old. And then she won a Credit Suisse Young Artist Award. She went on to perform with the Vienna Philharmonic and the Berlin Philharmonic to establish her reputation. She's guested with, all the top orchestra. There's the London, Chicago Symphony Orchestras, the Israeli Phil. She's worked with all the top conductors. So she's going to be one to hear. And so they're doing beautiful music with interesting background to it. Again, since it's the Berlin Phil, it's not free of charge. It's $16.90 for a 1-month subscription, which is $18.85. But here's the thing: you buy this 1-month subscription, and it's not for one concert. They do 4 or 5, sometimes 6 live streams in a month. And I probably have forgotten and left. No, I didn't leave up the picture of Lotte. So I'm so happy because I'm trying to not keep forgetting that when I'm doing these live streams. Anyway, so if you do that subscription, you will get a plenitude of live streams with the Berlin Phil. And the Berlin Phil, it's always high quality. They rarely, if ever, disappoint. So that does not completely conclude the weekend yet. On Saturday, we have 2 more offerings to tell you about. Artbene is back with their YouTube channel live streaming on Saturday, November 9th at 7 o'clock in the evening, European time, 9 o'clock in Moscow, 1 o'clock on the East Coast, 10 o'clock on the West Coast, 7 in the morning. In Australia, they'll be doing a Mozart concert with Alina Yaroslavia as the soloist, and the Symphony Orchestra of the Moscow Regional Philharmonic playing, and the flautist Elena Koren, who has won a number of international competitions on the flute. Now, they don't tell us what the program is. They tell us it will be Mozart's music. And they tell us that Mozart's music in the program notes has a healing effect confirmed by scientific research, which is good to know. But it would also be good to know if Artbene would tell us exactly what people are going to be playing. But they didn't. But if you like Mozart, you can hear Mozart on Saturday coming to you from Moscow. And you can't say that every day now, can you? We conclude our weekend and our week of live streams once again with, as we did last week, with the DSO, the Detroit Symphony Orchestra. I love the DSO. It's the place where, as a young man, I used to borrow the family car. We had 2 cars, one for Dad and one for Mom, and those of us who were old enough to drive. And I would borrow the car and drive downtown, sometimes alone. I wasn't even terribly sociable then, to experience the Detroit Symphony Orchestra. It is where I discovered what a symphony orchestra is. So there's a great fondness in my heart for the Detroit Symphony Orchestra. On Saturday, November 9th, 8 o'clock in the evening, Eastern Standard Time, 5 o'clock on the West Coast, late night, 2 o'clock in the morning in Europe, but worth staying up for, if you ask me. And at lunchtime, noon, in Australian Daylight Time on Sunday, the Detroit Symphony Orchestra, via their live streaming program DSO Live, will be live streaming Gustav Holst's The Planets, among other things. This will be on the DSO's own website, where they actually have a chat box like you get on YouTube on the website, and also on their YouTube channel. It's free of charge, as are all of Detroit Symphony Orchestra's live stream offerings. It's just a terrific orchestra for doing this. They're the world leader, if you ask me, in high quality orchestral live streaming. Let me give you a picture of the key participants in this. There you go. It's Alphonse Schohan, who is the conductor, and Johannes Moser, who will be the soloist. They'll be doing Thomas Adez's 3-piece suite from "quote unquote" Powder Her Face, Saint-Saëns Cello Concerto No. 1. That's where Johannes Moser comes in. Gustav Holst's The Planets, and as an extra kicker, they're going to throw in Colin Matthews's Pluto, the Renewer. So you get The Planets by Gustav Holst, but you get an extra planet, Pluto, although there have been arguments in the past over whether or not Pluto actually is a planet or not. So let me tell you a little bit more about these people. Alpesh Schohan is a British conductor. He's the principal guest conductor of the Dusseldorf Symphony, and he's music director also of the Birmingham Opera Company. He has a debut album out, which is featuring orchestral works by Tchaikovsky, including Francesco da Rimini, the Voyevoda, etc. This was done with the BBC Scottish Symphony Orchestra, and it came out in June 2023. He's also the principal conductor of the Philharmonica Arturo Toscanini in Parma. So he's big on doing a lot of opera conducting, and he was named Newcomer of the Year in 2021 at the International Opera Awards. That's how much he's interested in it. And he has received in January 2022 from Her Royal Highness the Queen an OBE in New Year's honors for his services to the arts. Now, Johannes Moser, the cellist, he's German-Canadian. He plays regularly with the Berlin Phil, the LA Phil, the New York Phil, the BBC at the Proms, the London Symphony, the Tokyo NHK Symphony, Philadelphia, Cleveland. He's got recordings out of concertos by Dvorak, Lalo, Elgar, Luloslavsky, Dutilleux, and Tchaikovsky. And among these recordings, he has won the treasured Preis der deutschen Schallplattenkritik and the Diapason d'Or. So both the Germans and the French say this is a great guy. He's also a dedicated chamber musician, but I can't go into all of the details of that, as we've been going for almost 30 minutes and I have to wrap this up. I try to bring it down to 20 and it gets longer, but there's so much going on, as you can see. There's more and more of it, and we haven't even touched the chamber music or the organ recitals for this week. So I will be back in the next day or two, giving you all of the info that I can about what's interesting among the chamber music and recitals going on this week, and the organ recitals which are going on this week. Let me remind you, subscribe to us on YouTube especially. We'd love to have enough subscribers there so we could start monetizing, or on Facebook or our other platforms, X, TikTok, Instagram, Threads. We want to get the word out to as many people in as many places as possible. And remember, when you tune into a live stream event, it's not like looking at a recording. You know, if it's Tuesday night and you pull up a recording, there's nobody there. The artists are not there performing for you. They've gone fishing. They're visiting their Aunt Mimi, or they're on vacation or whatever, or they may not even be alive anymore. There's no connection there. And as for other audiences, you're by yourself. When you take part in one of these live stream events, and more the artists are recognizing it and are thanking the remote live stream audiences at the end of their performances, you're part of a social event. The artist I have been a performing artist. I can tell you, we do it out of love. And what we do is we create experiences of truth and beauty to share with the audience, the whole audience, whether it's the audience present in the hall or the audience that's live streaming. You're a part of that, and you're connected with the artist and with the audiences. This goes back to how we came out of the jungle, getting together around campfires and with the singing and the dancing and the storytelling coming on. It's basic to our humanity, and it cannot be replaced by dead recordings or film or television recordings. It's basic to us, and I think we're all better off the more we participate in it. So I want to encourage you to do that, not to support these people, to support yourself. And I hope that one or more or any of these experiences I've just told you about this week will be inspiring and uplifting to you, and will be a blessing to your heart, mind, and soul. So with that, I'll say ciao for now, and I'll see you in the comments section on YouTube and any of these concerts that are live streamed there. Drop in and say hello to Access Arts Live. And I'd love to know that I brought you there. And even if I'm not there, drop in and tell the moderator that Access Arts Live brought you to their live stream. Ciao.